Morning. Today I am going to share the one challenge that I am still afraid to face. This is going to be a fun one. Let's see how it goes. So, I'm in the process of doing a challenge, like an actual challenge, like a group challenge with a teacher that I've recently uh, met, and that really the challenge is really powerful and beautiful, and it's taken me out of my comfort zone, and it's challenging some um, long held beliefs and long held um, limitations within this human life that this one has experienced. But also, something amazing about the challenge is that I am challenged in a way, not necessarily just the subject of the challenge. It's like I am challenged by certain ideas and beliefs that are held by the, the teacher, the guide for the challenge. And so I'm really challenging myself to be able to be in environments and with people that I don't necessarily agree with or resonate with everything that they share, but there are certain things that I really do resonate with, that do really serve. And I feel this is an important, this is not the big challenge that I'm wanting to face that I will get to, or that I'm still afraid to face. Um, I will get to that. But I just wanted to share that this is another challenge that I feel is like, if something doesn't like wholly fully resonate, the first idea, and you hear it a lot, and I've said it and I've done it, is if it completely doesn't resonate, it's not for me, or I'm leaving it. It's not right. And I feel there is wisdom in that, and I feel trusting our own inner guidance is always good. But I also feel and see that there could be things that are really good for us, really beneficial for us, and because it's challenged us or triggered us in some way, and um, it doesn't resonate with us, we may be, I'm not saying in every case, we may be holding ourselves back from something that is so powerful and so beneficial and so transformational for us that we hold ourselves away from it. We keep ourselves from it under the guise of this makes me uncomfortable, it doesn't resonate, so that means it's not right for me. And so many of us that have trauma, and so many of us that have had experiences in this human life, and if you're watching this video, it's very likely that you are in the kind of alternative conscious light worker, wish or heart leader, that type of field. And if you're not, you'll probably turn off pretty soon. But there's so much, and again, I've shared it, and I've experienced it, and I've done it. If it doesn't resonate, it's not for you. Is that always the case? I don't know. That's a question. I'm dropping a question here because I'm really seeing that maybe there are many things that, well, not maybe. I know there are many things that are really challenging in life that actually are really beneficial for us. And if we don't go through some pain, we don't go through some challenge, we don't face some fears, we don't question some of our unquestioned assumptions, we don't allow ourselves to go into challenging circumstances or go into a space where we feel uncomfortable, it doesn't resonate with us, it's a certain thing. It's just a pondering that has come here. And I mean, I've put myself in this place where I don't completely resonate. There's some things that I like, literally, absolutely, strongly disagree with. Yet I'm being guided. I'm really strongly pulled to be there and to be in that place. and to be in a place where certain philosophies, ideas, and belief systems go completely against what not against, they're just a different way. It's not how I see, it's not how I feel, it's not how I would share with others. Yet I'm being so strongly called to be there because I can really see the benefits of the things that are calling me. But I'm just wondering as I wondering how many of us in this field keep ourselves away from something that could potentially be so transformational, so powerful for us because it doesn't resonate, because it doesn't feel right. If you think about the traumas that we've gone through and the challenges that we've come through that have allowed us to become stronger, that have allowed us to become, much more resilient. Imagine if we were, and in some cases, when it was childhood, we don't have choices in that. But imagine, if we as a human never went through anything that didn't fully resonate with us, we would never grow. We would never get to the treasure that comes from trauma. We would never get to the diamond that comes from the carbon being squeezed. Because it doesn't resonate, I'm not gonna do it. You would never grow. We would be very fragile as humans. And again, I'm not diminishing trauma. I'm not saying everyone's individual. There's so many different ways in which that can appear for everyone. But all of those experiences have strengthened us. All of those experiences have made us stronger, have made us more compassionate, have made us more loving, have brought us into a deeper sense of knowing how strong, how resilient, how powerful we can be when we go through challenging circumstances, when we go through traumatic circumstances. So, as always, I never know what's going to be talked about here when I press live and that just came as I speak because, again, I have shared it before. I've shared this doesn't take what resonates and leave the rest. Is that really wisdom? I don't know. I'm not going to give an answer. I'm just sharing that I've seen it, I've felt it, and now I'm being called to enter spaces where I don't fully resonate, yet still there's something that's calling me to be there. Again, if we as a human never went through any traumatic experience, never went through anything that strengthened us, that gave us empathy for what it feels like for a human to suffer, if we didn't know what it means to be challenged, to feel lost, to feel fear, to feel stifled, to feel contracted, would we be able to serve? Would we be able to empathize with someone who has? If you haven't experienced something, you don't know what it's like. It's like someone with book learning from a university trying to help someone that's gone through trauma. Shouldn't go there. It's a little bit of a judgment. But anyway, so that was, I wanted to share that because that's just a little individual experience that is appearing now, and and just throwing out there, put out a question, do we keep ourselves from things that may be very beneficial for us and our lives? As the Son of God is sneaking up over these rocks, do we keep ourselves from things that could be soulfully beneficial for us? They may be challenging. They may, if something doesn't challenge our beliefs, if something doesn't challenge the status quo, if something doesn't bring us to something new, then if we're not growing, we're dying. We're on the countdown to death. We're keeping the same way. This is what works. I'm going to stay in my bubble of what resonates with me, and everything else I get because I'm so spiritual and so attuned and so aware. I know everything that is good for me. Again, I'm not talking about denying your intuitive knowings. I'm not talking about denying your feelings. I'm not talking about, and for many through trauma, one of the traumas was you're too sensitive, you're too much, you know, oh you're just making this up, or you're too this, you're too that. Again, hear me. I'm from this experience. I'm just sharing that maybe I'm just putting a possibility. There are things that don't resonate with you, the things that you are pushed away from, or you push yourself away from, or you hide from, that actually could be for your highest good. Maybe. If we open to that possibility, if we open to that potential, then we can find out. But if we shut down completely, oh, that doesn't resonate. That doesn't feel good in my body. Again, those things that made us strong, they definitely did not resonate. They definitely did not think, oh, this is going to be a beautiful experience going through this trauma. No. But what did happen was you became stronger as a result. You became more, you became full of empathy. You became full of wisdom of the trauma. You became full of an openness because you had that experience. And so, again, oh wow, look at this. This camera will never get this, but look at that. What we can see on cameras compared to what our beautiful eyes can see and experience is so amazing. Look at these footprints in the sand. So I'm just putting out a question. Love to hear in the comments what you feel about that. Again, this is with full compassion for trauma. I work with this, I've experienced, I know. And just asking, do you feel, is it possible that something that you don't resonate with could potentially have gifts that you could never imagine? I feel that way with this challenge that I'm doing. So, when I wrote the title, I'm usually not even writing titles today, but this title came, so I put it in there. And the title was, so again, that was the first part. Maybe, well, nothing is divided. Everything is always connected and as it is. So I was going to say this is not linked to what we're going to share, but I'm sure that's not true. Everything is linked. So the title of this video was the biggest fear, no, the biggest challenge that I'm still afraid to face. Before I share that, if you're watching live or you're watching on the replay, put now in the comments what is your biggest fear that you're still afraid to face. We've got a few people online. I'd love to hear in the comments first before I begin. What is the one challenge? Oh, I'm just reading it now. The one challenge I'm still afraid to face. It's funny when I look at these things. It's like someone else wrote them. Also, can you let me know that this stream still works? I'm sure it tells me if it doesn't. Because I'm going to the end of this beach like I haven't done before. I'm sure it should be fine. But yes, put in the comments below, what is the one challenge that or the one fear, what's the one thing that you still don't want to face? And then I'm going to share what the one challenge that I'm still afraid to face is. And maybe you will resonate and maybe you won't. And maybe if you don't resonate, maybe we could listen. Yeah. But it's fun. It's fun to, how many unquestioned assumptions do we accept? If our life is a certain way, it is that way because we believe in a certain way, we act in a certain way, we see in a certain way. And we've all had the experiences whenever we believe in another way, we see in a different way, we choose the different actions or words, that changes. Oh, it was 1444. So, but if we get a whole lot of people in our community, in our tribe, in our vibe tribe, that agree with our unquestioned assumptions. If this doesn't resonate with me, I'm not going to do it. If I don't like what someone's saying, I'm turning it off. If they are, this or that judgment, which I was bringing ever before, is they're not right. I'm going to share two. I'm going to share two things. It's the same, but I'm going to share two things now because as I spoke, I was just realizing another one that I have. So I'm going to ask someone in the comments to share and first, and then I'll share. Angelique, I can, not easy letting go as it comes about my ignorance of my daughter. It's like I'm not existing. Okay, that's a challenging one. Family are always the most beautiful challenges on this life. So, thank you for sharing, sister, and just sharing allows us to expand. Sharing and giving voice to something or giving words to something allows it to open up. So, the one challenge I am still afraid to face. Okay, Nikki said, intimate relationships, it feels like I may get hurt, I exit. Okay, amazing. Yes, I'm sure many people can relate to that and feel that. I know I definitely did before I met my soul partner, beloved Angel. Okay, thank you both for sharing. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Angelique. So, the one challenge I'm still afraid to face is, and then there's going to be two. So the second one's not a challenge I want to face, but it's a judgment and a thing that I see. It's linked to what I shared at the beginning. All this doesn't resonate, so there's something wrong. Okay, so the one challenge I am still afraid to face is to be my whole, full, and complete self at all times with everybody. So much emotion coming up when that's coming, because whenever I'm on here, whenever I'm not even on it, that's the thing. Whenever this is appearing, there's no limits. I am fully myself, I am fully vulnerable, I'm fully in flow. At times I am on my genius, and at times I'm on my weirdness, at times I'm on my lack, but it all is a constant flow. There's no hiding, there's no mask, there's sometimes a long beard, but that's gone today. When I'm in this experience, or when I've been guiding people in the past, we're on Zoom calls or doing retreats, or when I'm in that space, I am totally, 100%, vulnerably, perfectly, imperfectly, ingenious, out of genius, completely myself. No limitations. Don't hold anything back. There's no hiding. There's no aggrandizement, or there's no contraction. I'm just fully and completely myself, and it's just effortless, and it's just ease, and there's no trying of anything, and it doesn't take any effort. It's just a continuous, spontaneous flow. But the biggest challenge that I'm still afraid to face is to be like this always, everywhere, with everyone, in every circumstance. When I'm with my family, when I'm with people that wouldn't get the stuff that's talked about here, would sound like an absolute foreign language. Being able to be myself and being comfortable being myself like I am myself, which is my true self, where I'm here with everybody all of the time, in every circumstance, no matter what. So the biggest challenge is with my family, number one, because you have 44 years and more of history and patterns and things that uh, that appear. And then just with people that you just meet, or let's say people or friends, let's say friends that you had before you remembered you're remembering, and friends you have after you remembered you're remembering. I'm going to say I act in a different way. And it's not a deliberate thing, and it's not like I'm trying to uh, be someone else. It's just there's an automatic response to here I'm free, I'm completely as myself. There's no changing of the words, there's no filtering of the consciousness, there's just a complete spontaneous flow of who I am, and that's beautiful and free. And then in nearly every other circumstance, even including with my wife and son, there's patterns of limitation. There's patterns of trauma. There's patterns of expressing the fullness of your being and expressing various degrees of complete or um, degrees of like contracting, right down to just completely contracted. Where look at that, son of God, good timing. Where it's so contracted that the one that's on here would be unrecognizable to the one that's appearing there, or you're in public, or you're with strangers, you're with people that you don't resonate with. I think that theme's going to keep going. Um, yeah, so that's still a fear. It's still a fear. It's still a challenge, and it's still one that I have to say I'm afraid to face. Because if I wasn't afraid to face it, I would just be doing it. I would just be being it. I would just be myself with everyone, the fullness of myself, in every way, in every circumstance, in every time, no matter who they are, no matter where we are, no matter if it resonates or not, I would be the fullness of my being no matter what. So I am still afraid to face that. And someone could probably say in the comments now, oh, but that's being yourself is, being a certain way with one person, being a certain way with another. And that is true, and it's okay, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong. There's no right or wrong here. And we could say there are certain behaviors and ways of talking and ways of being that are conducive to harmonious relationships. Oh wow, again! If you've been watching these videos, oh my god. Okay, I hope Katrina's watching this video. Unbelievable. One more time, so we know from Katrina the last time that these are a symbol for pilgrimage, which I didn't know the first time. It's a scallop shell, and I always find them broken. And now this is the second time that I find one completely intact. So apparently we are going on a pilgrimage because we just found another perfect scallop shell. They're nearly always broken. They're never perfect like that. So twice, let's clean it off till we see. Oh my god. So we are going on a pilgrimage. Wherever that is, I don't know. But I take the message. Usually I need 3. Ah, shit. Feet soaked. Okay, that was the start of the pilgrimage. Got my feet completely soaked. So literally perfect. Not a mark on it. Woo! So my wet feet are at the beginning of the pilgrimage. Wow. Okay, I accept. Whatever the pilgrimage we are going on, I accept. So there's the first step into me being fully myself in all ways, everywhere, with everyone. So that's the first challenge. That is the one challenge I'm still afraid to face because this one is the core of everything. Because if I was, and if you were, your full, whole, and complete, beautiful, magnificent self with everyone in every circumstance at every time, there is zero other challenges to face. I know this, you know this, but we'll come up, and the ego will come up with a billion different ways and so many different reasons as to why I can't do that and why it's okay for someone else to do it. Put in the comments, do you know anyone that actually is that? And actually, that's a silly question. Because unless you live with someone 24 hours a day, you're never going to see that. But let's say someone that approaches that for you. And And I'm going to invite you not to, just in case you have the temptation to say me, I'm going to say, ask my wife. And you, you know, don't judge or don't base this question on what you see and hear here. But I want to ask, is there someone that you feel approaches that you've seen them at their best and you've seen them at their worst, and that the distance between that is small. Let's there. You know, do you know someone that is so fully themselves all of the time, and you've seen them being themselves even when it's so challenging? I mean, it's easy to be yourself when everything's going well, or you're in your comfort zone. Even if your comfort zone is this, where everything resonates and everyone's resonating. I'm going to think about that, about who it is for me. But it's a challenging question, because if we base it like social media, again, when someone's on Instagram or Facebook Live or someone's doing this, you're seeing one side. You don't see them when they're you don't see them when they're sat on the toilet. You don't see them when they feel broken. You don't see them when their traumas are coming up. So, wow, pilgrimage is coming. Pilgrimage, where are we going? I don't know. So that was the first one, and again, that's the core one. But I want to give a secondary one because I noticed it came up in meditation for me. It's linked. So I shared at the beginning, I'm in this challenge, this program, where I don't resonate with everything. So keep my soaking feet dry for another bit. So I'm in this program where I don't fully resonate with everything that the guide teacher shares, and I'm so strongly called to be there because I can see and feel something very powerful is coming for me. Um, and so that's and because the field, okay, this is where it is. Because the field that teacher is in is not in necessarily the same field that I'm passionate about. You may wonder why am I in that then, but we'll talk about that later. Because that is one reason it's important to get out of our echo chamber. So if we're only in spiritual groups, we're only in light worker groups, we're only in ascension groups, we're only in all of these things, we're missing the infinite tapestry of potentials for humans. So that's we'll just answer that. But it's easy for me to be in that group because I see. It's not easy. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to be in that group because it's kind of removed from what I share. So it's kind of a different field. There'll be different people will be drawn to it, which is perfect. And there's certain things that really I feel are going to be beneficial for me. But the second challenge that I have is when I see people, and of course it only happened when it became more apparent when I came back onto Facebook, because you see much more. When I was 2 years in the desert, I didn't see anything pretty much. And I could only be with what I resonate. Oh my God, the more I say it, it's just bullshit. But for me, I'm not saying for you, you decide for you. The challenge I have is when I see others that are in a, let's say, similar or much closer field. So the people that are in the fields that I'm in, and when they're sharing something that doesn't resonate, that I don't agree with, I have a real challenging hard time with that. Martin has a real challenging hard time with that. So this other teacher guide can be sharing things that completely are the absolute, diametrically opposite of what I feel and resonate and believe and what I would share. And I can be in a group and in a space where I'm learning, remembering with this teacher in this group. Yet, because something is closer, so like a teacher, a guide, that's, let's say, I'll be honest, it's mostly people in the kind of ascension, let's say that ascension field. And when they share things that I just feel, I just fundamentally don't agree with it. I feel like it doesn't resonate, that sort of thing. Again, I feel like I'm going to just drop that doesn't resonate thing, but I would just use that word because it's so common. I find it really. I feel like there's, again, this is just going to be an individual share. Is like there's this real feeling of a responsibility to share the highest truth. There's a feeling that there's, to share something, the gift of sharing something, and to share that with someone that can really impact or change their way of being. I feel like a real responsibility that needs to be purely from my heart, and it needs to really be, yes, pure, raw, and it needs to come from experience. And whenever there's a feeling that there's a sharing of that from someone else in that kind of similar field, and it just feels what they're sharing, again, just to me, not saying that it's right, it just feels for me that it doesn't work. I'm really challenged with that, and there's a lot of work that I need to do on this, like, because there's this feeling of responsibility that you have to get it right, that you have to share the purest truth. Um, so I came in meditation today, and I needed to do a whole lot of work. Not meditation. It came as a result of meditation. Nothing comes in meditation. Meditation is when everything disappears, and it's seen that none of this was ever real. Uh, that's another thing that we talk about a lot. Uh, and you can't talk about meditation. Meditation is the dissolving of the me, of the I, of the word. But I digress. Uh, so yeah, that's something I had to really work on, and to, again, this egoic thing is like what I feel and resonate is the truth. Again, I know this is going to challenge people. I know this is going to be people who are going to say, but I know what resonates for me. I do know what is best for me. I do know what is right. And I'm not trying to convince anything. You probably know by now. I just come on here and share, mostly for Martin. Let's just get it real. I'm sharing mostly for Martin. And if someone else resonates and get, I'm going to delete resonate. I want to delete resonation, not true resonation. It's mostly for Martin. It's mostly for Martin. I love that it seems to serve other people, but it's mostly to dissolve this Martin's false beliefs, Martin's ideas about himself and the world. That's mostly what it's about, and it's a blessing that it seems to that it seems to serve others. And I only know that because some people say that it does. And if it does, it does, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'll continue to be myself here. But that's something that really I felt I was called to work on that this morning, to see that no matter if someone completely disagrees with you, or if they're close to, again, it's because it's closer, then it's a more challenge. Because the other group that I'm in is farther away, let's say in consciousness or focus, it's easier. But when it's close, it's like home, it's like family, and they're sharing something that I don't agree with, or don't use the R word. That there's something brought up in me that feels like, you know, if I don't agree with it and don't R word it, uh, it's not right, and I have a responsibility to share what is right. Because if one other being takes on something that I have shared that I think is right, and again, ultimately there is no right or wrong. There ultimately is just experience. But I just wanted to share the challenge that I'm facing is when I see others that share things that do not align with how I see. There was the tendency to judge that. There was a tendency to yeah, make right or wrong, or feel like, I just feel this really strong, whatever I share has to come from my heart, whether it's bullshit or it's beautiful. It has to come from the heart, and it's not, it's not saying that those other sharings are not coming from the heart. It's just when something comes from your heart and you just feel it and know it with all of your being, and then someone or something calls it, shares something that shares another truth. That's another challenge that I worked on today, and I really worked with, really loving and aligning and accepting and seeing the perfection of that, especially when it's close to really being uh, in total and real gratitude of all of these beings that are closer, that are sharing things that are different, that are, it's rare that it's opposite, but sometimes it is opposite as well. And so everything is a perfect whole, everything. And so, yes, I wanted to just share that because that's just a journey that I'm going through. And I feel it has had a huge step today. It has had a huge, again, it's been very apparent to me, but that sense of responsibility is like pure, in the purest sense, is the ability to respond within oneself. And so I have the ability to respond to everything and everyone all of the time by being myself. The one challenge I am still afraid to face, the fear, is that I am not being that all the time. And so bringing it back to that challenge would be like when I'm in circumstances where people are sharing things that don't, R word, that I don't agree with, to be like so loving of that and accepting of that and grateful for that. And see, that's the whole point of this whole thing. That's the whole gift of this. If everybody was the same, it would be literally pointless. If everyone was doing the same thing, there would be no point to creation at all. There would be no point to your fingertips, your fingerprints. No point to the uniqueness of your eyes. It's just, it wouldn't make any sense. So I just share that second one to share because I'm always sharing my personal, individual challenges, and where I, for right or wrong, feel that if I am to share, again, no right or wrong, if I am to share, I'm sharing all of it. I'm sharing the ups, the downs. I'm sharing when I get some, like maybe something I've shared recently, things that I've shared in the past, things that I've guided people on. I don't feel I wouldn't guide in that way now, and that's evolution. But it's also, you know, important to share that. Like I see something completely different in that. I at once this was a truth for me, and I could see benefits in it, and others receive benefits. But now there's a feeling that there can be another way, and to accept and honor and be grateful for the infinite. There is no right or wrong. There's infinite potentials and infinite ways in which we can experience this life, and there'll be certain guiding lights on our path. And sometimes the guiding light, wow, don't often we get to see that. Reminds me of Ireland. There'll be certain guiding lights and certain guides that will be in the guise of a spiritual teacher. I'm just going to say it because I have to say it. And they're going to guide you away from what is your highest good so that you can find your way there yourself. Don't think I'm breaking any cosmic laws there by saying that. There'll be certain people along your path that will guide you in a certain way that will seem like they're they're taking you in a certain direction and it looks good on the surface, and actually it will take you in another direction, and it's not bad, and it's not. It's like angels and demons are the one. Sometimes, sometimes a demon will have to wear an angel's clothing to bring us into our power so we find our own power. Sometimes someone has to guide you to show you that you don't need a guide. Someone has to teach you something to teach you that you don't need to learn anything. Someone has to play a certain role in a certain way for you to discover the power within yourself, the teacher within yourself, what you've always known within yourself. So that's what I wanted to share today. Again, everything that is shared here is just my own individual journey. Don't take anything here that is shared as something to follow, or not sharing this is something that anyone should do. This is just a flow of what is appearing and the challenges that I face and the challenges and how I bring bring it through for myself, and how it's more challenging me for this one when it's close, and when there's a big gulf, it's easier. And what is shared here is just to challenge you to question your unquestioned assumptions. To, if you haven't put in the comments yet, put the one challenge that you're still afraid to face is, and I just repeat again, the one for this one for Martin is to be the fullness, wholeness, and completeness of myself with everyone, all of the time, no matter what. Even when it doesn't resonate, even when I don't agree, even when I've got 44 years of his story, even when the environment means you can't be talking about spiritual stuff. That's the challenge that is set for Martin now. Is to be this, is to be how free flowing and easy and joyful and vulnerable as I am here whenever this is switched off. When I'm with my wife, when I'm with my son, when I'm with my family, when I'm with a random stranger in the street. Again, there's certain of these it's quite easy. There'll be certain of them that are quite challenging. But I ask the question to you now: how would your life be? What would change in your life if you were your full, complete, and whole self all of the time with everyone, no matter what? How would your life change? Let's offer a little light blessing so that we can remember that we are this light and we are this perfection, and the divine blueprint of our being is forever projecting total perfection into our being. Perfect abundance, perfect health, perfect body, perfect relationship, perfect self-expression, perfect work in the world, perfect service in the world is forever projecting into our being as a perfect image. It is perfect. It is already here. And we offer this light blessing to remind you of the perfection of your being. Kanamaya Torayeti, Yana Satrayava Kiwana, Yana Kiwaya Namakitatu, Yana Pina Neurayeti, Amaya Sateyaki, Yatraya Tumraki Tina, Namrakituya Satraye, Yatraya Kibaya, Namrakituya Tirayase, Tirnaki Yitrawa, Manaki Nawatiyate. So this is the perfect analogy. There is a perfected divine blueprint projecting into your life. It could be described as pure, brilliant white light. When we experience anything other than the perfection, the wholeness, the absolute perfection of our being, it is because we are taking the pure, brilliant white light and we are filtering it through a false belief that at times can completely close it out, and at other times can let a little through. And then you close again because you don't resonate. And then you close down, and then you open again, and you let a little bit more through. Little sparks of light coming through. Who are you really? Are you this body? Oh, look through the eyes. You open a little bit more. It doesn't resonate. You're feeling some fear, but you open anyway. What happens? And then one day, for some reason, you don't know why, you let go. And you're completely, wholly, your full, perfect, beautiful self all of the time with everyone, no matter what. Can you imagine this one going to a supermarket and talking like that? Well, that's what's about to happen. Can you imagine talking that shift to the people you got drunk and did drugs with? Because that's what's about to happen. Can you imagine talking like that to your mother, to your father, to your ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend? Can you imagine talking like that to your school friends? Can you imagine doing light language in the pub? Because that's what's about to happen. We're on a pilgrimage to the truth. And the pilgrimage is just the closing of the hand. The pure, brilliant white light of our being. My wet feet are always complete and whole. They are whole. It is whole. It is perfect. This is something that was shared through this one before that doesn't resonate now. We are perfect. There's always this imperfectly perfect, and there's always this idea it's okay that there was always a subtle acceptance that we can't be the perfected whole. The human can't experience the fullness of who we are because we've got too much trauma, this world is too hard, blah, 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 blah. It's not true. It is not true. It has been all of our experiences, and it will only continue to be all of our experiences while we accept that. It is not true. We are divinely perfect. And I don't mean in the way we get to accept our perfection. No, we are, every single one of us and every single thing are divinely perfect. And just because we doesn't experience it, and just because none of us have experienced it for extended periods, doesn't mean that it's not true. This is something that was shared through this film that no longer be shared as I see that Novo Nascimento again. Little update on the seahorse thing. Thank you for those who shared the amazing wisdom on that I had no idea that seahorses, the male gives birth. And there's a little boat up here with 747, 47, 47, and 11, I think, also on there. A Novo Nascimento, new birth, with a seahorse on it. I'm just seeing it. A seahorse appeared in a vision this morning to me and spoke to me, which was like an energy seahorse. So that was really cool. Very rare for anything like that to happen to this one. But yeah, so I want to just share that there's always been a subtle, and this is not about not accepting the imperfections. Don't let the ego get us away from this, because that's what it will want to do. That's what it wants to do. That's how it survives. There is a divine blueprint. It is who we are, and it is perfect all of the time. And just because we don't experience it, just because we don't feel it, and just because beings like this one has subtly, spiritually bypassed our acceptance of it, doesn't mean that it's not so. And this is going to just poke at every part of the egoic self. It's going to just resist against this because it lives on its limitations and it thrives on thinking we're born dirty or imperfect, or it's so all sort of prickly ego stuff's going to come up here now. It's going to really poke at you. It's going to make you want to turn this video off. And the part that turns the video off is very free. The part that's perfect will always be. I really, like, I experience this. I am experiencing this. I don't always experience it, far from it, but that doesn't mean that it's not true. Just because that is so funny. 4 people dropped off the live stream when I said that. I love it. I love it. That's how we know we're on it. There was a number there, and you just see 4 people dropped off when it said you want to turn the video off. So, you're going to witness this stuff real time. There is a divine, perfect blueprint that is projecting itself in, through, and as everyone all of the time. It is never diminished. It is never lacking. It is never less. No matter how appearances look, no matter what circumstances there are, It is a divine, perfected whole expressing in, through, and as you. Always, always, always. It's not a fluffy spiritual idea. It's not some utopian dream. It is. It's not the fifth dimension. It's not ascension. It's not any of that. It's the truth of being. It's the truth. It is the truth. You could say it's a truth. It's the truth. And the only reason we don't experience it is because we, oh my God, look at this. The only reason we don't experience the perfection of who we are, you could not make this stuff up. The only reason we don't experience the perfection of who we are is because we focus on the imperfection of who we are. Holy shift. You could not make this shift up. On my life. Well, you just watched it. You just watched it live. Are you? Oh my God. It is because we focus. So don't believe this one. Believe the literal signs in front of our face. This is how we all normally find these. Always broken up. Never in that way. That is what you call Gaia's mic drop. Gaia just dropped her mic and said, "Y'all done." If she was from the south of America, she's everywhere. She's everything. She is perfection. We are perfection. It is already here. So I'm definitely keeping these. Okay, I think the battery's going to die because that was long. Oh my God, 50 minutes. So please put in the comments if this has triggered you, this has triggered your unworthiness, has triggered your it's okay for you talking there, it's triggered the I'm not good enough parts, it's triggered the all the reasons why you're not perfect, why you're why it sounds like a spiritual platitude, why it seems like, oh yeah, that's easy to say, and a few more people have dropped off as well. I love it. It's just clear. Everything is clear. This is how it is. When we focus on the perfection of who we are, we no longer will need to see the apparent illusion of the imperfection of who we are. And again, I can hear egos screaming here, but I want to accept all parts of me. The ego wants to hold on to all the neurosis, all of the supposed flaws, all of the character traits that are anything less than this perfected whole. I can hear it scream because it's screaming for its life. It's screaming for its life. Don't let it get away with it. I'm walking. I'm walking on the other side of my footprint here. See, I'm not walking the same path. That's cool. I didn't mean that. Don't let it talk you out of the perfect perfection that you are. Don't let all of its perceived imperfections talk you out of the perfection that you are, the perfected whole that we are. This is how it's thrived. This is how the world is the way it is. The world is full of broken egos, believing that they are what they are, when in truth they don't even exist. They're not even. They don't. They're a projection of false ideas. They're a projection of this when it's actually this. Always has been. So this is a challenge today. Number one, I shared the challenge, the biggest challenge that Martin has to face, that is afraid to face, afraid of being the fullness and completeness and wholeness of myself with everyone, everywhere, all of the time, no matter what. Light language in public toilets, channeling at the supermarket, and The second part was, oh, we've already shared about it. I don't need. I was just an individual challenge that I was going through that I realized today and dissolved. And this most challenging. This has to be the most challenging because it's the opposite. It's the opposite of the challenge that I faced there. Is like I can't be myself. I can't be the fullness of myself. I have to be this way when I'm here. I have to be this way when I'm talking with this one. I have to act in this way because this is what's right and proper. So the biggest challenge is that there is, and we are a divine, perfect blueprint. Not the little fluffy, spiritually, okay, it's okay to be, you know, a little bit messed up. No, we are perfect. There is a divine blueprint projecting perfection in, through, and as us. The only reason we don't get to experience it all of the time with everyone and everywhere is because we filter it through the lens like that instead of that. This is the biggest challenge. Egos are going to be screaming. Egos are going to be coming up with all the reasons why that is not true, and that is fine. And Martin's will be doing the exact same as soon as he presses stop. Doesn't mean that it's not true. Okay, battery's going to die. Martin needs a pee. Let's leave it there. Oh, let's look at these. We are here on this equinox, which I've just remembered that it's equinox. I did remember to walk a different path. Not to walk the same path that we've walked before, not tell the same stories we've told before, not to continue to be living in our unquestioned assumptions and following along with our spiritual people that tell us all the things that we want to hear. Because I resonate, I follow this being, or I talk with them, or they massage my spiritual ego and they keep my other ego because they tell me what I want to hear. They tell me what I resonate with. Just throwing it out there. There are times that this one will come on here and there will be a lot of love, a lot of joy. There's always love and always joy. But there will be times where this one will come on here and what is to be shared is to drop bombs, to blow up assumptions, to challenge your unquestioned assumptions, to trigger, to really blow it up. And that's for Martin as well, of course. Okay, that has been a whole lot. 57:41. So, no, I need to pee too much. I was going to check comments. I'll check comments after. I need to pee too much. So, I challenge you to put yourself in an environment with people that you don't resonate and you don't agree with, number one. I challenge you to put in the comments here what is the challenge that you are still afraid to face. And also I challenge you to share something individual to you that maybe you're like what I talked about, teachers or people that are more closer to me when they shared something that I didn't resonate or agree with, that challenged me a lot. It really, I felt like there was this feeling of responsibility was coming up within Martin. If there's things like that for you, I challenge you to share it. And to bring it all back full circle. There's nothing you have to do. There's nowhere you have to go. There's no one you have to be. You are already this. Bliss, peace, truth, love, unity, abundance, joy, freedom. I am that I am. You can't get it wrong. It's impossible to fail. We will never miss the mark again. Sin is gone. There is only love. There's only ever been love. Love is all there is. Until next time, from my heart to yours, The divine in me sees, loves, and honors the divine in you. Namaste. We are